BYD is so much ahead of Tesla in China. It's like it's almost ridiculous.
I don't think anywhere in the history of the automobile has any company enjoyed such explosive growth in such a short period of time.
While the world was watching Tesla, BYD built better cars, slashed prices, and took over entire markets. Their EVs charge in minutes, their hybrids leave giants like Toyota behind, and their battery tech is years ahead.
The company announced a new technology claiming it can charge an electric vehicle almost as quickly as it takes to fill a gas car.
They have just built a new EV, and it is shaking the whole of the automobile market. So what kind of vehicle did they just build? In this video, we will reveal BYD's new EV that will destroy the entire EV industry, the rise of BYD. It all started small. BYD began in 1995, not as a car company, but as a battery maker. In fact, it was building batteries for mobile phones, nickel-cadmium, lithium-ion, nothing fancy. Just solid, reliable stuff. No flashy launches, no bold announcements, no social media hype. Just work. The founder, Wang Chuanfu, was a quiet chemist from a small town in China. He didn't have a famous name, but he had a clear goal and relentless discipline. BYD didn't look like the kind of company that would shake the car industry to its core. But behind closed doors, it was already preparing for something massive. The shift began in 2003, when BYD took a surprising step into the auto world. They bought a struggling state-owned automaker, Qinhuan Automobile Company. At the time, it didn't raise many eyebrows. People thought it was an odd side project for a battery business. But for Wang Chuanfu, it was the move that would change everything. He didn't just want to supply parts, he wanted control of everything. From the raw materials in a battery to the cars on the road, he saw the power of owning every step. And that one decision started a chain reaction that would eventually put BYD miles ahead of the rest. Did they succeed in that? This is just the beginning. Stay tuned for a twist. While everyone else was stuck relying on suppliers, BYD was building its own supply chain. They didn't just build cars. They made the batteries. They made the chips. They even designed their own semiconductors. Everything happened under one roof. This setup made them faster, cheaper, and more adaptable. No need to wait for another company to deliver a part. No delays because a supplier couldn't keep up. And no compromise on quality. It gave them control and flexibility that traditional car makers couldn't match.
BYD is the only car company on the face of the planet that makes its own semiconductor chips.
Tesla, for example, still works with Panasonic and CATL for batteries. Legacy automakers depend on dozens of companies to build one car. BYD skipped all that. While Tesla was getting all the attention with Cybertrucks and rockets, BYD was building factories. Quietly, consistently. City after city in China started seeing BYD electric buses, taxis, and trucks. It wasn't glamorous, but it worked. They focused on volume, on scale, on building fast and building smart. And as more cities looked for cleaner public transport, BYD was right there, ready with a solution that actually worked. BYD also started gaining attention from places you wouldn't expect. In 2008, Warren Buffett made a move that surprised a lot of people. Through Berkshire Hathaway, he dropped $230 million into BYD for nearly 10% of the company. This wasn't the kind of company Buffett usually backed. He wasn't known for betting on tech or auto startups. But he saw something in BYD. He saw stability, smart leadership, and insane potential. That move gave BYD credibility in places that had never even heard of it. Suddenly, people outside of China started asking, who is this company and what are they doing? And what they were doing was growing faster than anyone expected. They didn't just stop at personal vehicles. They jumped into commercial transport. Electric buses started rolling out all across China. Government contracts started stacking up. While companies like GM and Ford were trying to slow down EV regulations, BYD leaned in and gave cities exactly what they needed: buses, taxis, and trucks that were affordable and easy to scale. They didn't just wait for the market to change. They moved first and dragged the market with them.
There is going to be a discrepancy between what BYD have announced these vehicles are capable of and the reality of what drivers see on the road.
Their vertical integration was the secret weapon. Most car companies operate like a huge orchestra. Each part of the car comes from a different place. One supplier makes the battery, another makes the infotainment system, someone else makes the seats. One problem in the chain, and everything slows down. BYD said, "Forget that." They became a one-stop shop. Every piece of the car was built in-house, which meant everything fit together perfectly. No waiting, no outsourcing, no middlemen. And because they built it all themselves, they cut costs. A lot of costs. They could offer EVs for a fraction of the price competitors needed just to break even. By 2024, things had changed completely. BYD was no longer some quiet underdog. They passed Tesla in revenue, hitting $17 billion compared to Tesla's $97.7 billion. That may look smaller on paper, but the margins told a different story. Tesla was still selling high-end cars with high prices. BYD, meanwhile, was moving millions of units at lower prices and making it work. They sold around 4.27 million vehicles in 2024. Just 4 years earlier, they sold less than 500,000. That's not just growth. That's a powerful wave.
In BYD stock, which has hit a record high.
In 2024, BYD sold about as many EVs as Tesla did worldwide, and that's only about half of BYD's total volume.
They didn't just dominate in China. They started entering other markets. In Europe, where buyers are known for their loyalty to local brands, BYD started making serious moves. In places like Spain and Italy, they outsold Tesla. In Germany and the UK, the gap was closing fast. For a company most people in the West still couldn't pronounce correctly, this kind of progress was unheard of. European drivers who had always stuck with brands like Mercedes or Volkswagen were now switching to BYD, mostly because they offered more for less. And they weren't just cheaper, they were actually good. Then came the Super E platform. This wasn't just a tweak or a minor upgrade, it was a whole new system. It allowed BYD cars to charge up to 400 kilometers of range in just 5 minutes. That kind of speed crushed one of the biggest complaints about EVs. No one wants to sit at a charger for 45 minutes. BYD's solution brought charging times closer to what people were used to with gas. And with their own high-speed chargers to go with it, they weren't just improving their cars, they were building an ecosystem.
Much more powerful, robust batteries, but critically with Superfast Charging that basically gives you the same amount of range or power in 5 minutes in the same time it takes to charge a gasoline car.
Tesla's superchargers top out at 250 kilowatts for most of their vehicles. BYD's system blew past that, reaching 1,000 kilowatts. That difference changed everything. Suddenly, the idea of EVs being slow or inconvenient didn't hold up. BYD had made it easier, faster, and cheaper. And while everyone else was reacting, they were already thinking ahead. That's how they stayed in front, not by following trends, but by building what people didn't even realize they needed yet. But how were they able to gain momentum? What strategies did they use? This next part will change everything you know about BYD. Strategies used by BYD for takeover. BYD didn't need to shout to get noticed. While other companies were focused on hype and loud reveals, BYD quietly worked behind the scenes, developing the kind of strategies that would eventually put it far ahead of the competition. One of its most important moves was making cars that people could actually afford. This wasn't just about cutting prices. It was about understanding what everyday drivers wanted and building vehicles that made sense for them. In Europe and Asia, people started to pay serious attention when models like the Dolphin and Seal rolled out. These weren't cheap cars with no features. They came with solid range, smart tech, and sleek designs, and they cost way less than Tesla's Model 3 or Model Y. In places like Spain and Italy, where people are more budget conscious, this strategy worked like magic. Instead of promising a $25,000 car for years and not delivering, BYD just quietly delivered cars that already met that price point. And they weren't just scraping by on quality either. These vehicles offered impressive acceleration, roomy interiors, and designs that didn't scream budget. So while Tesla was stuck making announcements and dealing with delays, BYD's cars were already in showrooms and on the road. Tesla's issues weren't helping either. The Cybertruck delays were dragging on, and their entry-level vehicle remained out of reach. Meanwhile, BYD kept launching new models, expanding factories, and signing deals. That kind of consistency built real trust, not just with regular buyers, but with big players like governments and commercial fleets. People started to see BYD as the company that shows up and delivers, not one that just makes headlines. But pricing wasn't the only way BYD gained ground. The company had a secret weapon under the hood, the Blade battery. While others were caught up chasing range and flashy numbers, BYD made something practical and powerful. This battery wasn't built just to go far, it was built to last and stay safe under pressure. Unlike the nickel-manganese cobalt batteries that needed rare materials and posed more safety risks, the Blade battery used lithium iron phosphate. It was cheaper to make, more stable, and didn't rely on problematic materials like cobalt. The way it was built made a huge difference. Instead of the standard battery design, BYD's Blade used long, thin cells stacked next to each other. This layout helped it stay cool and spread out heat, reducing the risk of fire or damage. In tough safety tests, like when a metal spike is driven through the battery to mimic a crash, most batteries fail. They heat up or even catch fire. The Blade battery passed that test without smoking or bursting into flames. That kind of result wasn't just good news for safety. It meant insurance companies, fleet managers, and governments could feel confident putting these vehicles on the road in large numbers. It didn't stop there. The Blade battery also lasted longer. Most batteries lose a good chunk of their power after 1,000 charge cycles. The Blade? Still holding over 80% after 3,000 cycles. That meant lower costs in the long run. A car that lasts longer with fewer repairs and replacements becomes more attractive to buyers thinking about long-term value. Tesla eventually saw the benefits of this battery tech and started using similar ones in some of their vehicles, but Tesla had to buy from outside suppliers. BYD didn't. Everything was in-house, including the battery development, production, and integration into the car. That full control gave them an edge. The software, the powertrain, and the battery all worked together in sync. No waiting on a third party to catch up or fix issues. That meant faster production, better energy use, and smoother performance. And it wasn't just EVs that BYD focused on. Their hybrid system, Super DM, quietly changed the game too. Instead of acting like a backup plan or a stepping stone to full EV, BYD's hybrids felt more like a smart alternative. In places like Southeast Asia, Latin America, or even rural parts of Europe where charging networks aren't fully built out, drivers need more than just an electric option. BYD's hybrids made sense for these areas. They used electric power as the main source and only switched to fuel when necessary. The Song Plus DMI, one of their plug-in hybrids, managed to keep fuel use extremely low, around 6 liters per 100 kilometers. And with an engine thermal efficiency of over 43%, it beat even Toyota's famous hybrid systems. That's a big deal. It meant BYD wasn't just catching up, they were beating out legacy car makers at their own game. These hybrids weren't treated like filler products either. They were designed to be practical and comfortable, with strong acceleration and modern tech features. The electric-first system meant drivers still got that clean, quiet EV feel most of the time, but they also had the safety net of fuel when needed. That was exactly what a lot of people were looking for, especially in markets that aren't fully ready for a total EV shift. Get ready for the most epic moment of the video. the new BYD EVs taking over. BYD has already made waves with their electric and hybrid cars, but now they're going even further and shaking up the industry with a whole new breed of vehicles that blend innovation, scale, and strategy like nobody else is doing. These aren't just minor upgrades or fancier trims, they're game-changing models that rewrite what an electric vehicle can be, how it works, and who can own one. One of the biggest shakeups comes from how BYD approaches the core architecture of its vehicles. Most EV manufacturers are still juggling multiple suppliers, separate software developers, and outsourced battery tech. Not BYD. They're building nearly everything in-house, from the battery to the drivetrain to the semiconductors and the software running it all. This isn't just about cost saving. It gives them unmatched control over performance, safety, and production speed. And it shows. Their latest e-platform 3.0, which powers many of their new EVs, is a perfect example of what happens when one company handles the full recipe. The platform isn't just a base to build cars on, it's an entire ecosystem, designed from the ground up for electric power. It integrates the blade battery, electric motor, control system, and even the vehicle's thermal management, all into one tight package. That means fewer parts, less weight, and better efficiency. The result was a faster acceleration, longer range, and vehicles that feel way more responsive than traditional EVs cobbled together from multiple parts bins. One standout example is the BYD Seal. It's a sleek, high-performance electric sedan that's already turning heads in Europe and Asia. On the surface, it looks like a stylish mid-range car, but under the hood, or rather under the floor, it has serious engineering. Built on the 3.0 platform, the Seal offers impressive range, fast charging, and power figures that go toe-to-toe with vehicles like the Tesla Model 3, but for thousands less. The chassis uses BYD's cell-to-body tech, where the battery is directly integrated into the car's structure. That lowers the center of gravity, increases rigidity, and boosts safety, all while saving space and materials. Then there's the BYD Dolphin, a smaller, more affordable EV that's causing a stir in urban markets. It's compact, efficient, and tech-heavy, designed to appeal to young drivers or city commuters who don't want to shell out for a premium badge. And yet, it comes loaded with features like advanced driver assist systems, over-the-air updates, and solid range. It's the kind of car that sneaks up on the market. It is not flashy, but suddenly everywhere. For years, the industry talked about a people's EV. BYD just built it. The innovation doesn't stop with sedans or hatchbacks. BYD is rolling out electric pickups and SUVs that are tailored for very specific needs and geographies. In Australia and Southeast Asia, where trucks are king, BYD's electric ute, pickup truck, is poised to challenge combustion-powered vehicles that have long dominated the landscape. These aren't repurposed sedans with a truck bed slapped on. They're designed from the ground up to be tough, capable, and electric. And they're priced competitively, opening the door for large-scale fleet purchases in construction, agriculture, and logistics. BYD's all-electric buses are also seeing massive adoption, especially in cities trying to cut emissions quickly. These buses aren't just clean, they're built to last and cheaper to run over time. Cities like London, Santiago, and Los Angeles are already filled with BYD's buses, and they're not stopping there. The company is expanding into electric commercial vans and trucks too. Think delivery fleets, airport shuttles, school buses, places where reliability matters more than speed and where downtime costs money. BYD's electric trucks have fewer moving parts than diesel ones, which means less maintenance, lower fuel costs, and cleaner cities. One of the most outstanding vehicles in BYD's arsenal is their Yangwang U8. This is a luxury SUV that doesn't just match traditional high-end gas SUVs, it blows them away with features that seem almost unreal. The U8 uses quad electric motors, one for each wheel. That allows it to do things no gas SUV can. It can spin in place like a tank. It can crab walk sideways. It can keep moving even if one or two wheels lose grip completely. It's waterproof enough to float briefly during floods. And it's not just for show. The tech packed into the U8 could easily trickle down into more affordable models later on. That's how BYD works. They scale fast, and they're not shy about bringing luxury-level features into the mainstream once the production lines are ready. This is how they're disrupting not only Tesla, but also traditional giants like BMW, Mercedes, and Land Rover, who've been slower to bring EVs to market with that kind of tech. Another one is the Yangwang U9, an electric supercar designed to rival the likes of the Porsche Taycan, or even the Tesla Roadster, whenever that actually shows up. The U9 has all the specs to match its looks. 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, massive horsepower, and a design that looks like it belongs in a sci-fi movie. And then there's BYD's push into smart features. These cars come equipped with DieLink, BYD's in-house infotainment system. It's slick, customizable, and designed to work like a smartphone. Rotating screens, voice commands, cloud connectivity, it's all there. And it gets better with updates. BYD's cars also talk to their chargers in a way that optimizes the process. The cars can detect charger capabilities and adjust the rate automatically, protecting the battery while still juicing up fast. It's the kind of invisible magic that improves the user experience without anyone really noticing, but once you've had it, it's hard to go back. What are your thoughts on these new types of EV? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Click on the next video displayed on your screen. You will enjoy it.